Hello, this is Manesh Patel from the EII Capital Group. This is the weekly Ichimoku webinar for futures. Today is August 29, 2010. Okay, before we begin, we'll begin with our normal disclaimer. This is for educational purpose only. All charts are in Thinkorswim, TradeStation, and so forth. Okay, whoops, we forgot one more thing, contact details. If you have any questions, you could post them on one of the websites from eiicapital.com. Also, you can follow us on Ichimoku Trading on Twitter. Okay, so we're going to begin. We're going to do things a little different now. Reason why is we've got an Ichimoku heat map that's available, and we're going to show you that right here. Okay, so what we're looking for is, this is the rating system. What we're looking for is a rating system is basically 5, 6, 7, 8 is being bullish, where 8 is the most bullish, and for the bearish side is -5, -6, -7, -8 for being bearish. Okay, what we've done is we've shown you two time frames for all the commodity futures, metal futures, and so forth. We're showing you weekly and daily. What we're looking for is scenarios where the rating is 5 and above for bullish and -5 for bearish. So if you see a rating that's above 5 for both of the time frames, that basically tells you that the daily and the weekly are in sync and trending together, which is a perfect scenario. So you could sit there and day trade that if you like. Also, you're looking for scenarios where the daily is now getting stronger. Like here, this is 3. It needs to get to 5. So this is getting stronger. So it's now going to start moving to start supporting the weekly time frame. So definitely look at wheat. You could see that soybeans are basically being bullish. That's good. Wheat is being gotten weak as far as on the weekly time frame is concerned. But the daily is still very strong. Sugar is getting conflicts now across the board. Coffee is still very strong. Remember, we talked about coffee last week. That was very good. That's good. Oats is getting weaker now, but you could see they're on borderline between bullish. Gold is still bullish. In fact, we'll talk about gold today. Silver is bullish. So if you start seeing the metals are starting getting strong. Platinum is weak right now. If you look at crude oil, it's still bearish. You like the weekly to be a little higher, so it's influencing the daily. And then if you look at natural gas, basically you could see that they are bearish. Okay, so let's start by looking at wheat, and then we'll go into let's go into coffee then. Okay, so we're going to look at wheat, and if you look at wheat on a weekly time frame, then on the weekly time frame, you could see that it's in a major pullback mode, which we expected it to be, especially when it came out here. We expected it to be in pullback, but the Tinkinson didn't follow through. So we're waiting for a pullback to occur, and if you look at the daily time frame, you could kind of see that the pullback is occurring. Now, if you can see here, this is a major area here that hasn't been able to penetrate yet, but it possibly can. It possibly could sit there and consolidate all the way, come all the way down to here. My guess is it's going to come down to 845 and then sit there and bounce off that and then try to go to retest the high. Okay, so remember when it got to here on Twitter, we said the pullback hasn't been confirmed. This is the first day it closed above the Cajunson, but at that point, there was no confirmation that this pullback had been confirmed, and we're correct in that. I mean, notice what it done is formed a little double bottom for right now, but the question is going to be seeing what's going to happen in the future. Okay, so that was wheat, and you could see that from here. That's weak right there. Okay, and we're going to go forward, and we're going to look at the charts. Okay, and we're going to move forward with that, and then the next chart we're going to look at is gold. Let's go look at gold. Now, if you look at gold, there's a lot of low levels here. Let's go to a weekly time frame, which will probably confuse it more, but let's go there. Let's zoom in. A lot of little time frames there. We're going to get rid of some of them today. In fact, let's just get rid of some of these right now. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we got rid of all those there. And if you look, we're pretty much at one of the levels right now. That's probably from the daily. The key is breaking this 1058 level and then going higher. It does look like it's sitting there, wants to break higher. In fact, we are bullish on gold. I've been tweeting about that. I'm definitely going to blog on this trade today. But this is definitely a trade that we're looking to go higher, especially in September. September is typically a seasonal pattern where it goes higher. It went, as you could saw, it's kind of hanging around this level here, the 1239 level. You have to break it, but I have a feeling it's going to break it this week. Everything's getting stronger and stronger on this as far as this is concerned. Okay. So we're going to wait. We're going to see what happens, but we are bullish for gold. Okay. Let's go look here. And let's go and see what else we got. Let's go look at coffee. Okay, we're going to go futures. We're going to go for a lot of these like we normally do, just scroll down. But I just want to go through and pick out some now. If you look at coffee, we could see that. Let's go to weekly time frame. If you looked, it did sit there, pull back intraday last week, came all the way down here, and then it continued to go forward. So it still hasn't done a major pullback, which is pretty much going below the Cajun-sen, but it has done a pullback below the Tinkin-sen. Let's go look at the daily and see what that looks like. And if you look at the daily, this is that major move right here. It did pull all the way down here, went below the Cajun-sen, and then now crossed and closed above the Cajun-sen. So as far as daily is concerned, it has pulled back. However, everything's starting to weaken here. It's definitely going to get above this level for the trend to continue. But chances of it getting higher up there is getting weak because of all this volatility that's entered this currency. I mean, this futures pair. Let's go look at copper. Copper looks like it's trending now. Let's go look at the weekly. Look on the weekly. It's still in conflicts on the weekly. It's got to definitely break this level here, which is the head and shoulder that most everyone looks at. But there's room between here and there that you can play intraday. But it has to sit there and break this level right here. If it breaks that level, then that Tinkin-sen Cajun-sen will cross, and this future cloud will start going bullish. But the Chicago is definitely not supporting the trade. So I have a feeling if this thing doesn't sit there in a couple of weeks, break out, this thing's going to start tanking to the lower side. We just got to wait and see what happens on copper. Let's look at daily. Daily looks like it wants to break out because it came all the way down here, pulled back, then broke back up here, and it closed right at the major resistance level. So the key is what's going to happen at this resistance level. If it breaks it, it's going to go to that next level right there. Okay, let's go look at lean hogs. We're here. Let's go look at the weekly time frame. If you look at the weekly time frame here, there's not enough data here. That's why all the part looks like that way. But if you look here, it came all the way to the Tinkin-sen Cajun-sen, which we expected a pullback. Now we're expecting it to go a little lower here. However, this big thick cumulo cloud is going to stop this thing from starting a bearish trend, unless it sits there and becomes very volatile and going down and makes a big move going down all the way down here to 65.26. Now remember, these commodity futures, they can sit there and make big huge movements. Look at these big movements here. So it can sit there and make one big huge movement. If it breaks a 72.89, you may get enough sellers to just tank this thing all the way down to 65 very, very fast. Let's go look at the daily time frame. Same scenario. It hasn't been able to penetrate that Cajun-sen at all. So this is starting to look very bearish, and the chance of it going down to 65, it looks high. Definitely will keep an eye on that one. Let's go look at lumber. Lumber's just consolidating. We're waiting for this thing to break up. In fact, let's put a alert here. So we put alert at the top end of that lumber on a daily. And if you look at the weekly, same scenario. So if you look at the weekly, still bearish. So you can sit there and play daily bullish, but you got to be very careful because it's going to go only up to a certain value. This thing is still very bearish as far as the weekly is concerned. Okay, and let's just scroll down. Let's go look at 30-year Treasury Bonds. Remember, they've been bullish. And let's look at the weekly. They've been bullish last week. They kind of went all the way up to our price level 3, which we were targeting. That was perfect for us. Now they got there. They bounced off that, came all the way down and closed below the close of last week. So, and it kind of formed a doji. So this is a doji, so we definitely know there's issues now. It got to our level, so Tinkinson's still pointing up, so we're gonna expect it to pull back or maybe start continuing. We're not sure yet. Let's look at the daily time frame, but everything's still very strong for this on a weekly time frame. If you look on a daily time frame, we are getting a pullback. It'll probably pull back down to here too. Either get to 132.19 or 131.16. Those are the two levels that it's got to get to for the pullback for us to sit there and start looking for it to go higher to retest the highs and possibly break out. There's a high possibility this was retest the high, but I don't know if it's going to break out anymore because this thing's been moving since May and it's been drastically moving. So, it's questionable how far this thing's going to go. This is the weekly Ichimoku webinar for commodities. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, post them on the forum.